What's up guys, this is Dark Magician here and welcome to another KOF video. Okay, so the last Genesis captain has been patched to global. Okay, so first we got Terry 03, which is the captain of Tiger Genesis, and then we got Chrysalid, which is the captain of Snake Genesis. After that we got Adelhyde, which is the captain of Wildbird Genesis, and lastly we have Nameless, which is the captain of Tortoise Genesis. Okay, so today's video will be a character introduction for Nameless. Okay, so Nameless is a very special fighter because so far in global this is the only fighter with the combination of DPS and Tortoise soul. Okay, so to start with, Nameless of course is an API 14 character. He's a DPS. His stats, okay, we can see in his stats that he has a very high crit power, okay, while the other stats are quite normal. His feature says defensive attack, okay, basically because he's a DPS and at the same time he has a Tortoise soul and he has a very high block rate. Okay, we're gonna see that later in his passive. Okay, so first let's start with his fates. We have Nest's test subject. We need Nameless, Kula, and K, attack plus 25%. Eternal Fire, we need Nameless, Kionest, and Orochi Chris. We need, it gives us attack plus 25%. Lone Ranger, Nameless, Iori, and Terry, attack plus 25%. Okay, his weapon, Imitation Live Fighting Gloves, and he uses Flame Badge and Thai Boxing Tome. Okay, so his fight soul, Tortoise soul of course, recover 10 rage when attacked and 5 times 4 when attacking. So basically it's a Tortoise soul and an Adder soul at the same time. Okay, now his passive, Blood's Will, get the unyielding effect. So what's the unyielding effect? The lower the HP, the higher the damage. So when his HP goes low, his damage goes high. Okay, 80% chance to reduce 30% damage received when attacked. So that's pretty much the resist. Okay, so there's an 80% to resist. Okay, 30% of the damage will be blocked. Okay, the lower the HP, the higher the damage reduction. It can go up to 80%. So when he resists, he can resist up to 80% of the damage when his HP is low. Okay, of course, and because he's a captain, his captain skill says when Nameless debuts, if you have more than 4 Tortoise fighters deployed, will increase all allies 40% crit resistance for 2 rounds. Of course, that's the captain skill, same for Terry, same for Adelhyde, and same for Chrysalid. Okay, it is not activated at the same time as Instinct Iori Lake element. So when we get Instinct Iori with Lake element skill activated, this effect or the captain skill will not be activated at the same time. Okay, of course the skill attribute is only active in battle. Okay, so of course we said here the lower the HP, the higher the damage, and it starts with 30% and can go up to 80% as we said. Okay, his second passive, Nest's attack enhancement, permanently increase attack. Now here we're not sure if it's attack and HP, but pretty much it should be only attack, but I don't know. Okay, now his minor skill, ground dagger cut, attacks a single target, dealing split effect. So what's the split effect? Basically it's the same thing as bleeding, but bleeding can increase the opponent's rage. Okay, while the split effect or Nameless's bleeding won't increase the opponent's rage. Okay, so it deals 8% max HP damage each round and lasts until the end of the battle. Okay, so as long as the opponent is not cured of it, the bleeding or the split effect will stay there for the end of the battle. Okay, and the effect can be stacked. So if Nameless apply the split effect to the opponent again, both can stack. So it will deal 16% max HP damage each round. Okay, and they can stack. Okay, so losing HP will not gain rage as we said. Now increase also 40% pierce, absorbing 1 random ally burning effect and convert it into 10% HP for self. Okay, so he increases his pierce and he absorbs a burning effect of a random ally. So if an ally is affected by a burn, he will absorb the burning, so the ally will be cured from the burning, and Nameless will convert it to 10% HP to himself. He will heal himself by 10%. Okay, so that's a very good skill. Now his ultimate rotating spiral, attack a column and hit the target, adding again the split effect. Deal 25% damage to targets with the split effect or bleeding effect. Okay, so more damage to those opponents that have the split effect or the bleeding effect. If there is more than one enemy, and if none in the front row triggers block or damage reduction, then hit target will be knocked away. Okay, so I'm sure you've seen Nameless knocking people away from the battlefield. This will happen if there is more than one enemy. Of course, if say in arena, if we still have more than one enemy, he can be knocked away. Okay, and of course if that enemy didn't block or triggers block or damage reduction basically. So under these conditions, the opponent can be knocked out of the battlefield and will not return this round. Okay, does not work against petrified or frozen targets. Okay, so the target shouldn't block and shouldn't be frozen or petrified, and there should be more than one opponent on the other side. Under these conditions, the opponent can be knocked out of the field and will return on the next round. Okay, and enhance front allies 15% block strength. So he added block power to 15% to the front allies. Okay, so that's pretty much his skills. Now we're gonna go to the UG KOF'98 app to talk about the gates, and later come back to give some more advices on how to use Nameless and other stuff about it. Okay guys, so we got here to the UG KOF'98 app to talk about the gates for Nameless. Okay, so first let's start with his passive, okay, Blood's Will. So what changes is that we mentioned that he gets the unyielding effect. Of course, the lower the damage, the lower the HP, the higher the damage. It was 80%, now it's 85%. And after that, the first 2 rounds of Nameless entering the fight, allies fighter's normal attack has 30% chance to inflict open wound. So every fighter with any normal attack has a 30% chance to inflict wounds on the opponents. Okay. Now also add to that 80% chance to reduce 35% damage, I think instead of 30%. And also on the 3rd round, allied fighters gain undying effect, maximum increase of 30% damage. So after round 3 or at round 3, okay, the other allies will gain the unyielding effects such that they will increase 30% damage at max when they have low HP. Okay, so that was his second gate or his passive. Now his awakened weapon, by the way, it's not there in the app, but I think it's just a bit of numbers, increase in numbers, basically not much. Now his 4th gate or his minor skill, so increase his own piercing rate by 50% instead of 40%, and decrease target resistance by 20%. Okay. Okay, also absorbing 1 random ally burning effect as we said, and converts it into 12% HP instead of 10% for himself, and get 200 rage for himself. Okay, so it adds like a little bit HP, and he gains rage out of it. Okay, now his smacks or his 6th gate. Okay, so we said that he deals additional 40% additional damage to the target with the split or bleeding effect. It was 25%. He also ignores block and resist damage. Okay, so the opponent can't block or resist his ultimate. Okay, on the 3rd round onwards, change to new ultimate. Okay, targeting the enemy with the highest HP in the front row. Okay, so he affects or he attacks one target instead of a column. After Nameless uses his ultimate, regain full rage on the 3rd round. He entered the match. Okay, enhance front allies 25% block. Okay, so once Nameless uses his ultimate once, okay, before round 3, he will make another one on round 3. Okay, so he should use an ultimate like on round 1 or round 2. Okay, and on the 3rd round he will regain enough rage to make another ultimate. Okay, so that's what it seems the 6th gate gives to him. Okay, and of course enhance front allies 25% block. It was 15% block power. Now here we're not sure if it's block or block power. Okay, but the value definitely increases by 10%. Okay guys, so that was Nameless, the gates for Nameless. Now we're gonna get back to the game to talk about some tips for Nameless and his rules. Okay guys, so we're back to the game to give some tips for Nameless. Okay, so from what we've seen, where does Nameless perform best? Okay, so sadly he can't be found in many teams. Okay, most likely he will be found in Turtle Genesis, of course, because he's the captain after all, and pretty much in 4 Souls. Okay, if you want him as a tortoise as the tortoise element, okay, Nameless is a good choice, okay, if you have other tanky fighters maybe, because he can pretty much do both, okay, so he's good offensively and defensively. So pretty much only those two teams, you know, Turtle Genesis and Four Souls are the best teams for him. Now to talk about his runes, now gotta mention that Nameless is one of those fighters that can be equipped with any types of runes, okay, basically as we said, because he can be good for offense and defense at the same time. Now equipping him with offensive runes like Wolf's Anger or Dragon Tiger or let's say Killing Soul or God's Wrath is kind of normal. I think what makes Nameless better is that if he can survive much in the field, okay. Now pretty much because his split effect does a really good job, okay. So even if you didn't buff his power or his attack much, his split effect can do the same amount of damage for any type of fighter, no matter how high the power was. That opponent will lose this certain amount of HP every round. So we can count on that as an offensive factor for Nameless. But in my opinion, pretty much we can, if you want to play it safe, or give him some defensive runes, I think the Heart of Thorns can be a very nice one for him. Why? Because we mentioned that the Heart of Thorns, can give him HP once he gets attacked, okay? And remember that Nameless has a very high block rate, okay, because of his passive. So if he blocks the attack, he will gain more HP than he would lose, okay. So that's why, especially at low HP levels, he will be very tanky and he will gain HP, and this will ensure his he can survive more, okay, especially because he will keep healing himself, okay. So that's why, in my opinion, I would like to see Nameless using Heart of Thorns, because I think this is the best rune set for him, because it will give him more persistence, okay. Another one you can use is the Protector Soul, simply because it gives him more block, okay. So if he blocks more, he will survive more, of course, especially because he has a very block rate already, okay. Other than that, you know, Boiling Blood, nah, not much. Chaos, of course not. If you want to go offensively, you can go for the other stuff, or those two, the Protector or Heart of Thorns, because I think they are the best ones for him if you want him to survive as much as possible. Okay guys, so that was pretty much everything about Nameless. So are you going for him? What are your thoughts about him? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.